When we talk about the unseen forces that influence our lives, we must be careful to discern what is truly happening around us. There are realities that many refuse to acknowledge, yet they operate relentlessly, shaping destinies and influencing outcomes in ways that defy logic and human explanation. One such reality is the presence of witchcraft. It is a spiritual warfare that can silently penetrate a person's life without their knowledge. The spiritual warfare that can silently penetrate a person's life without their knowledge. The question that arises then is, how can one identify if witchcraft is being done against them? The answer lies not in fear or superstition, but in understanding and wisdom. Recognizing the signs is crucial because it gives you the opportunity to take action, to break the yoke, and to regain control over your life. First, when someone is under the influence of witchcraft, there is often a noticeable shift in their life's trajectory. This is not a minor inconvenience or a simple challenge. It is a consistent pattern of setbacks that defy explanation. You may find that no matter how hard you work or how careful you plan, things just do not go your way. Opportunities that once seemed within reach suddenly vanish. Doors that were wide open shut inexplicably. It is as if an invisible force is blocking your progress. This pattern is not coincidental. It is a spiritual attack aimed at robbing you of your purpose and your potential. It is important to remember that life is not meant to be a constant struggle where every step forward is met with resistance. When you see a pattern like this, be alert. Secondly, your relationships may begin to deteriorate without cause. People who once loved and supported you may turn against you suddenly. Friendships may crumble and family ties may become strained. You might experience misunderstandings and conflicts that seem out of nowhere. Witchcraft often targets relationships because these connections are the foundation of a person's emotional and social well-being. When these are broken, the victim is isolated and weakened. If you find yourself suddenly at odds with everyone around you, and if those around you exhibit strange behavior towards you without clear reason, this could be a sign that someone is working against you spiritually. Third, you may notice physical and emotional symptoms that cannot be explained by medical science. Persistent fatigue, sudden illnesses, nightmares, and an overwhelming sense of dread or fear are signs that should not be ignored. These are not just random health issues. They are often manifestations of spiritual oppression. The body is the temple of the spirit, and when the spirit is under attack, the body shows the effects. You may feel a heaviness or a presence around you that brings discomfort. This spiritual interference often seeks to weaken your resolve and your faith. Fourth, financial difficulties may arise suddenly and without logical explanation. You may find that money slips through your fingers or unexpected expenses appear, draining your resources. Investments that once promised returns become losses. Jobs that seemed secure become unstable. This form of attack aims to create instability and dependence, making it harder for you to focus on your goals and your future. When your finances are under constant strain despite your efforts, and when luck seems to abandon you, it is wise to consider the possibility of spiritual interference. Fifth, your mental state may become disturbed. Confusion, forgetfulness, and inability to focus are common signs when witchcraft is at play. Your mind may feel clouded, as if someone is trying to steal your peace and clarity. When your thoughts are not your own, when you feel a heaviness or darkness clouding your mind, this can be a sign of spiritual manipulation. It is important to guard your mind because it is the battlefield where victory or defeat is often decided. Sixth, you may experience an unusual number of accidents or dangerous situations. These are not just coincidences. They are attempts to harm or distract you from your destiny. If you find yourself narrowly escaping harm repeatedly, or if your environment seems more hazardous than usual, this could be an indication of a spiritual attack. The enemy often uses fear and chaos to disrupt your focus and your confidence. Seventh, you may have a sense of being watched or followed. This feeling goes beyond paranoia. It is a spiritual awareness of someone's presence that is not physical but spiritual. You may feel eyes on you or a heaviness in the atmosphere around you. This is a sign that someone is directing negative energy or spells toward you. This feeling is a warning, a call to be vigilant and to seek spiritual protection. Understanding these signs is the first step in breaking free from the grip of witchcraft. But recognizing them requires spiritual discernment. It requires that you be connected to a higher source of wisdom and power so that you do not mistake natural difficulties for spiritual attacks, and vice versa. Many times, what looks like witchcraft is simply the natural course of life, but when you see multiple signs manifesting simultaneously and persistently, it is clear that there is a deeper battle being fought on your behalf. It is also important to note that witchcraft is not just about curses or spells. It is about control and manipulation of the spiritual realm to influence the physical world. The enemy does not always come with dramatic displays. Many times, the attack is subtle, creeping into your life slowly until it has gained a stronghold. This is why vigilance is crucial. You must be sensitive to the spiritual environment around you and aware of the forces at work. In addition to identifying the signs, you must understand that witchcraft requires consent, whether knowingly or unknowingly. The spiritual laws governing these forces are based on agreements and invitations. This means that sometimes through ignorance or careless behavior, doors are opened that allow these forces to enter. This could be through involvement in occult practices, association with negative influences, or harboring bitterness and unforgiveness. Therefore, self-examination is vital. You must ask yourself if there are areas in your life where you have unknowingly given access to these forces. Moreover, witchcraft can be transmitted through various means: objects, words, thoughts, or actions. Sometimes a person may receive a cursed object unknowingly, or someone may speak words of malice or curses over them. The power of the spoken word in the spiritual realm is significant. Words carry energy and can open doors to influence a person's life. This is why it is important to guard what you hear and what you say. Furthermore, the environment in which a person lives can also be a source of spiritual attack. Negative influences in the community, places where dark rituals are performed, or environments saturated with fear and hatred can become breeding grounds for witchcraft. If you find yourself in such environments often, you become vulnerable. Awareness of your surroundings is a key aspect of spiritual protection. It is also important to understand that witchcraft often attacks what is most valuable to you. It targets your family, your reputation, your health, your mind, and your finances, because these are the pillars of your life. The enemy aims to weaken these pillars to bring you down. When you see persistent attacks on these areas, you must recognize it as a spiritual assault. Another sign to consider is the presence of unexplained fears or phobias that suddenly arise. These fears may seem irrational but have a strong hold over your emotions. They can paralyze you and prevent you from taking necessary steps in life. These are often spiritual chains designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of fear and inactivity. You may also notice strange dreams or visions. Dreams are a gateway to the spiritual realm, and they can be used to communicate or to torment. If your dreams are filled with darkness, threats, or disturbing images that you cannot explain, it could be a form of spiritual harassment. This is a subtle way witchcraft seeks to unsettle your mind and spirit. At times, people under witchcraft may experience a sudden change in character or behavior. This change is not just emotional but spiritual. You may find yourself feeling angry, depressed, or hopeless without a clear reason. This inner turmoil is a sign that the spirit within you is being influenced by external forces. You might also feel a lack of motivation or an inability to carry out tasks that once brought you joy. This loss of passion and purpose is often a symptom of spiritual attack. It is a way to weaken your resolve and make you give up on your dreams and goals. Isolation is another sign. When you feel cut off from support systems, even when people around you are willing to help, it can be a sign that spiritual forces are working to separate you from those who could protect and encourage you. Sometimes there may be signs in your immediate environment. Strange symbols, unfamiliar objects placed near your home or workplace, or unexplained smells or sounds. These physical signs may seem minor, but they carry spiritual significance. They are markers or portals that witchcraft uses to maintain a connection to your life. It is essential to be aware that these signs are not definitive proof alone. They must be considered in the context of your life and your spiritual sensitivity. It is not about paranoia, but about wisdom and discernment. You are not helpless in this situation. You have the power to resist and overcome. The source of your power lies in understanding who you are and the authority you have in your life. No force is greater than the power that resides within you when you align with truth and righteousness. Witchcraft is a tool of darkness, but light always dispels darkness. Recognizing the signs is the first step in reclaiming your life. You must also surround yourself with those who uplift and protect you. Community and support are vital. When you are isolated, you become vulnerable. But when you are connected to others who walk in truth, you gain strength. Prayer, meditation, and affirmations of truth are powerful weapons. They create a shield around you, making it difficult for any negative force to penetrate. Your words carry power. Speak life, speak truth, and refuse to entertain fear or negativity. Another important aspect is the renunciation of any involvement with occult or negative practices. Sometimes people unwittingly engage in activities that open doors to witchcraft. Recognizing and turning away from these activities is crucial to breaking free. Cleanse your environment physically and spiritually. Remove objects that carry negative energy and replace them with symbols of hope and faith. Your surroundings influence your spirit. Take care of your body as well, because the physical, mental, and spiritual are interconnected. When your body is strong and healthy, your spirit is empowered. Learning and growing in spiritual knowledge is a lifelong journey. The more you understand about these forces, the less power they have over you. Ignorance is a vulnerability that the enemy exploits. Be vigilant in your thoughts. What you dwell on and believe can open or close doors. Choose thoughts of faith, hope, and victory. Recognizing the signs of witchcraft is about understanding that you are not alone and that you have the strength to overcome. The battle is real, but so is the power to win it. You must stand firm, be wise, and walk boldly in the light of truth, for this is the path to freedom and victory. Understanding the signs of witchcraft being directed against you is not just about identifying problems, it is about reclaiming your power and restoring your rightful place in life. To live without awareness is to live vulnerable, like a ship sailing the seas without a compass. When you grasp the reality of spiritual forces at work and begin to discern the subtle ways they seek to undermine your progress, relationships, health, finances, and peace of mind, you are stepping into the realm of true freedom. This awareness is the key that unlocks the door to victory. It is not a call to fear, but a call to preparedness, to spiritual vigilance, and to the exercise of your God-given authority. Vigilation is a decision to exercise one of the most variable. Remember, The forces that attempt to manipulate or hinder you through witchcraft operate by stealth, by deception, and often through the small cracks you leave open in your spiritual defenses. They rely on ignorance, complacency, and confusion. But when you bring light to darkness, when you shine the lamp of discernment into the hidden corners of your life, these forces lose their grip. They cannot withstand the power of truth and the unwavering confidence of one who knows their identity and authority. The battle you face is not with flesh and blood alone, but with powers and principalities in spiritual realms. To be effective in this battle, your weaponry must be spiritual, rooted in faith, wisdom, and a deep understanding of the nature of these forces. This battle demands more than surface knowledge. It calls for a transformation of the mind and spirit, a daily commitment to walk in integrity, and a lifestyle of prayer and spiritual discipline. It demands that you guard your heart and mind, be vigilant over your words, and cultivate an environment of peace and righteousness around you. One of the greatest tools you possess is the power of choice. You may not control every circumstance, but you control how you respond. You choose what influences you allow in your life, the words you speak over yourself and others, and the spiritual alliances you form. Through these choices, you either open doors to blessing or to bondage. Understanding this empowers you to take responsibility for your spiritual well-being and to close doors that have been left ajar, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Moreover, it is crucial to understand that witchcraft feeds off fear and doubt. The moment you allow fear to dominate your thoughts, you give the enemy a foothold. When you choose faith over fear, truth over deception, and light over darkness, you build a fortress around your spirit that no witchcraft can breach. Your mind becomes a citadel of strength, impervious to the lies and manipulations that seek to weaken you. Spiritual freedom also requires the courage to confront and renounce anything in your past or present that may have invited negative forces. This could be involvement in occult practices, unresolved bitterness, unforgiveness, or associations with harmful influences. Such things act as portals through which witchcraft enters. When you courageously address these areas and repent or sever ties, you are sealing those portals and cutting off access to the enemy. Community plays a vital role in your protection and healing. Isolation is a tactic of the enemy designed to weaken you. Surrounding yourself with people who uphold truth, encourage righteousness, and walk in spiritual maturity provides strength and accountability. These relationships become a shield, a support system that helps you stand firm even when the battle intensifies. Do not underestimate the power of fellowship and unity in the face of spiritual warfare. Prayer is your frontline defense and your greatest weapon. It aligns you with the source of all power, wisdom, and protection. Prayer breaks chains, shatters strongholds, and brings supernatural intervention. It is not merely a ritual, but a dynamic conversation and communion with the divine. Through persistent prayer, you build a hedge of protection around your life, your family, and your endeavors. Prayer fortifies your spirit, sharpens your discernment, and empowers you to walk boldly despite the attacks. Equally important is the renewal of your mind. The thoughts you entertain determine your emotional state and spiritual health. Negative thoughts, doubts, and lies from the enemy must be replaced with affirmations of truth, promises of hope, and declarations of victory. Your mind is the battlefield where the war is won or lost. Guard it fiercely by feeding it with wisdom, positive influences, and the word of truth. Taking care of your physical body is also a vital part of spiritual warfare. The body and spirit are intertwined. Weakness in one can affect the other. Maintaining good health through proper rest, nutrition, and exercise strengthens your resilience. A healthy body supports a strong spirit, and a strong spirit enables you to endure and overcome challenges. It is also essential to cleanse your environment both physically and spiritually. Remove anything that carries negative energy, objects, symbols, or influences, and fill your space with things that inspire peace, faith, and positivity. Your environment is the extension of your inner world. By controlling what surrounds you, you reinforce your spiritual defenses. Knowledge is power. The more you learn about spiritual realities, the more equipped you become to recognize and resist attacks. Ignorance is the enemy's advantage. Pursue spiritual education, seek wisdom, and be discerning about the sources you allow to influence you. Wisdom is a shield that protects you from deception and empowers you to walk in victory. Above all, remember that you are not a victim but a victor. The forces of darkness may attempt to deceive, manipulate, and oppress, but they are limited in power and authority. You carry within you a higher authority, a divine heritage that no witchcraft can overthrow. Your identity is rooted in a source of infinite power and unshakable truth. When you walk in this identity, you operate from a position of strength and confidence, not fear. Stand firm in the truth that your life has purpose, your destiny is divine, and no force can thwart the plan set for you. Witchcraft is an obstacle, not a destination. It is a challenge to be overcome, not a sentence to be endured. The moment you recognize the signs and take intentional steps to guard yourself, you are declaring war against every attack and asserting your rightful place as a sovereign being. Your journey toward freedom is a process. It requires patience, persistence, and faith. There may be setbacks and battles, but each step forward is a victory. Do not be discouraged by temporary difficulties. Instead, see them as opportunities to grow stronger and more resilient. Every obstacle you overcome builds your spiritual muscle and prepares you for greater victories. You are surrounded by a host of unseen allies, a force of righteousness that stands ready to assist you when you call upon it. The power to overcome witchcraft is not something you earn through your own strength, but something you receive through alignment with truth and the Spirit of life. Your faith activates this power, your choices maintain it, and your perseverance secures it. In the face of spiritual attack, your greatest weapon is a heart steadfast in truth, a mind focused on victory, and a spirit anchored in faith. Refuse to be a prisoner of fear or confusion. Rise above the manipulation and deception. Claim your authority and walk boldly in your divine right. Your life is meant to flourish, to be a testimony of triumph over every force that seeks to destroy. This is not merely about avoiding harm. It is about embracing the fullness of life that is your inheritance. It is about living with clarity, purpose, and power, unshaken by the forces that would seek to intimidate or hinder. Your awareness of these signs is the doorway to living that victorious life. Your understanding equips you to act wisely and decisively. Never forget that the greatest victory is found in knowing who you are and whose you are. Your identity in this truth makes you invincible against witchcraft. You are not defined by the attacks or the struggles, but by the strength and authority within you. When you walk in this truth, the enemy's plans are dismantled and your path is illuminated. The power to overcome is in your hands. It is your birthright, your spiritual heritage. Let this truth guide your steps as you navigate the challenges before you. Stand firm, walk in wisdom, and live boldly, knowing that no force can prevail against the strength of a spirit aligned with truth.